Nathan, congratulations. What a night it has been. You have got almost two hands in the O2. Just sum up what are the emotions like after a roller coaster.
Yeah, you know what, it has been a roller coaster of a night. You know what, I felt really good coming into it tonight. I was disappointed obviously last week. I've had a couple of fantastic exhibitions in Wales this weekend. 3 or 4 days at home with the family. Sun's out, kids are in the paddling pool, we've had a barbie, and I just felt dead relaxed coming into the night. And I said to Kirsty, I was like, I don't think I'm going to beat Van Gerwen, I think I'm going to win the night. And yeah, obviously the first game was huge, but after that, I felt like the shackles had come off a little bit. Even though I still had to win that next game, I felt like the pressure had come off, and I think the finishing's been fantastic this evening. You know, there's been a couple of legs where I was out the leg, so I just kind of threw the darts away. But I think, apart from that, I think the finishing is what's won me this evening.
The Van Gerwen game, he almost got his way back into it when you missed a couple of doubles, and you could see the look on your face. They got the perfect on the camera behind. Were you thinking, surely not, surely I can't be blowing this from here type thing at that point? Yeah,
because obviously I said to Luke when I walked back up after the game, when I missed, I think he had 53 to win the match, and I went 13 wire. I'm not even lying. All I could see was Luke Littler's head at the double 20. Because obviously I bombed it last week. You know, there's no way I should have lost last week to Luke Littler, but I did. I missed so many darts to win the game, and I could see Luke's head. But luckily I threw a great mark on it. I hit the double. But the thing is, Van Gerwen is for me is my idol in darts. He's a goat of darts, and if I can qualify for the Premier League campaign by beating Michael back-to-back weeks, that would mean more to me than probably any other dart player.
You've won major titles. Where does this rank? I know it's only a Premier League night, but because of what was at stake, is this right up there?
I don't know, because I've not performed an amazing standard this evening, but I've won. But I would. If I get through next week, even winning one game, then that'll be up there. But I think tonight is just, for me, a sigh of relief. I'm proud of myself, how I've handled myself. I think I've been very composed this evening. I've not been jumping around like an idiot like I normally am. But I've just been composed. I knew what I had to do this evening. I knew the job in front of me, and I think I've just handled the whole situation fantastic. And it's up for me now to not mess that up and just finish the job off next week.
We've laughed and joked all the way through these 16 weeks. You and Gezi shouldn't have been in. Everyone was like, why have they picked them? And one's there, the other one is 99% there. Is this a nice one just to go, this is why we were picked?
Mate, we both said it this evening. I spoke to Gezi, I've not seen him since last Thursday, and I shook his hand. I went, well done mate for qualifying. I said, you've done half of it, it's down to me now to finish the job off. And we've laughed all year about it. We know why we was picked, we proved why we was picked, and how good would it be? I'm not counting my chickens, but if me and Gezi play in the final, that would be absolutely unbelievable. But first and foremost, you've got to forget about that. I've got to concentrate on next week. The job isn't done yet. Can't get ahead of myself. Michael is more than capable of winning next week. I've just got to beat him next week, and I'm done. And then we can have a laugh.
You've been to 2 finals nights. However, one was at MK, one was at the Rico. Does this mean more?
Yeah.
Because it's the O2, that iconic venue, and the little chap from Stockport, as you called yourself, going to that iconic venue. Does this mean more now because of that?
Yeah, I said on stage before. I said I've got 3 things left that I want to do before I retire from darts: be a world champion, play for England, play in the final of the Premier League. And next Thursday I can knock one of them off. It'll be amazing. Like I say, I played in 2 Premier League finals, both in lockdown. But to walk out in front of the O2, the most iconic building in the whole of England, like arena-wise, would be amazing. And fingers crossed, I can do the job and I can be there.
Congratulations, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Nathan, when you started this campaign in the Premier League, how tough was it to put out all the comments that everybody was saying and just focus on proving them wrong?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to. But it was hard. It was horrific. I came off social media because of the abuse that I was getting. I'm not being exaggerated here, but it ruined my life for a month. Not just my life, my family's. It was horrific. But I'm a professional sportsman. You've got to deal with it, and I put things in place to deal with that. But I think me and Gezi both received the same treatment, and we've used it to our advantage. You know what I mean? And You know, I've actually enjoyed this Premier League campaign more than anyone that I've ever played in. I think the standard has been out of this world. I think all 8 players have done themselves credit. I think it has been the most competitive Premier League there's ever been, the most entertaining, the most exciting, and to me to come out in the top 4 of that Premier League with these amazing players, I'll be buzzing.
The last few years you've missed out just by the finest of margins. Has that you've been flirting with the playoffs for the past few weeks? Has that been in your mind leading up to this moment?
The last 2 weeks, it's been in my head, and even when I beat Stephen, then I walked into the room where Port was, and I'm going, even I can't f this up. And obviously that was a massive step forward, then winning that final. But listen, it isn't over. You know what I mean? I can't get ahead of myself. I've still got a job to do next week. I can't rest on my laurels. But yeah, obviously it's a massive step forward. I want to finish that job off on Thursday. I want to finish it strong. And listen, there's another night to win, another 10 grand, another trophy. You know, if I win, I could go to third. You know what I mean? Let's not forget that. So there's a lot to play for next week. But no, I'm going to enjoy my evening tonight, and I'm very proud of myself.
When you talk about how much you look up to Michael Van Gerwen, is it almost more satisfying beating someone like Van Gerwen, considering what he's done, especially in this tournament?
I wouldn't say it's satisfying. I don't get any satisfaction from beating Michael. He's, like I say, you can say it then, I look up to Michael so much. He's done everything there is in this sport. I've got so much respect for him. He's helped me out behind closed doors so much, more than anyone will ever know. He's helped me out so much. I've got the utmost respect for that man. So no, I don't get satisfaction from knocking him out of it, as I would probably do some others. But for me, I get pride from beating, in my eyes, the GOAT of darts to qualify.
Sure, Nathan. Well done tonight. Thank you.
Nathan, when you succeeded in that semi-final, you sort of pressed your head against the board, the dartboard there. Can you describe the emotion?
Yeah, I didn't know I was nearly there. It was a massive game, and yeah, it just, obviously I've had so much heartache on the Premier League stage. Winning that match, I knew I had one foot in the O2, and it was just like, instead of jumping around, I've been trying to keep my adrenaline in my body so much all night, because once you let it all out, it is so hard to get back up. And I've tried all night to keep it down, and that's why I did that instead of just jumping around like an idiot. But yeah, it was just pure emotion.
Yeah, I was speaking to a lot of people outside, and they touted you for the win tonight. What would you describe that Aberdeen crowd like?
Scotland is, I do so much work in Scotland. Absolutely love the place. You know, this is God's honest truth. About 4 years ago, I nearly bought a house in Prestwick. I nearly moved up to Scotland. God, I didn't in the end. To be fair, midlife crisis, I think it was. But now, I love Scotland. You know what I mean? I've got so many good friends up here: Andy Bolton, John Henderson. When I work up here, the crowd, the reception I get is unbelievable. There's so many shirts in there this evening. So you know what? I think if I won in Manchester, and I think probably for me, Aberdeen or Glasgow, for me to win it, Premier League night, they would be my next two, to be fair. So yeah, I'm buzzing that I won here, and the support I got was amazing. So thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you.